She was supposed to walk down the aisle dressed in white, surrounded by love and blessings. Her family and friends filled the church with joy. Her groom waited at the altar. The music played, the cameras flashed, but within hours the bride would be lying lifeless on the floor, her dreams shattered, her vows left unspoken. What no one knew was that the person who ended it all was not a stranger, not an intruder, but someone sitting quietly in the front row watching every moment unfold with cold intent. How does a wedding day transform into a crime scene? Who was this person hiding in plain sight? And why would they strike at the very heart of happiness? This is the story of a celebration turned into a nightmare, the day a bride was found dead on her wedding day and the killer was sitting in the front row. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Let's hit 1,000 subscribers together. Every click matters, every voice counts. Thank you for supporting this journey. Now let's go back to the story. In the summer of 2021, a young woman named Alicia Monroe prepared for what she believed would be the happiest day of her life. She was 27 years old, a kindergarten teacher admired by parents, loved by her students, and adored by her community, born and raised in Savannah, Georgia. Alicia grew up in a close-knit family, her father a retired firefighter, her mother a church choir leader. They raised her with values of kindness, discipline, and faith. She was known as the girl who smiled at everyone who stopped to help neighbors, who carried her light into every room she entered. Friends described her as dependable, gentle, and full of life. She loved children so deeply that even on weekends, she volunteered at a local shelter, tutoring kids who had fallen behind in school. Alicia met Marcus Hill, her fiancé, 3 years earlier at a charity fundraiser. He was ambitious, a 29-year-old financial advisor with dreams of building his own firm. Tall, confident, charming, the kind of man who easily caught attention. But when he met Alicia, he often said he found something he had never felt before: peace. Their relationship blossomed quickly, marked by weekend trips to the coast, late-night study sessions for her teaching exams, and his business meetings, where she sat beside him offering encouragement. Family members said they were a perfect balance. She was soft, where he was firm, patient, where he was restless. They were engaged after 2 years when Marcus proposed during a surprise dinner with both families. The wedding date was set for June 12, 2021, a Saturday in early summer when the weather promised warmth and clear skies. The couple chose St. Matthew's Baptist Church, a historic building in Savannah, known for its stained glass windows and large courtyard. The guest list grew to over 200 people. Friends, relatives, co-workers, and neighbors, all eager to witness a union many believed would last forever. In the weeks leading up to the ceremony, preparations consumed Alicia's days. Fittings for her gown meetings with florists, seating arrangements, and rehearsals. She documented her excitement on social media, posting pictures of her dress without revealing too much, writing captions like, "Countdown to forever," and "Can't wait to say I do." Her friends showered her with gifts. Her parents beamed with pride, and even Marcus, who was often reserved, appeared more open, happier than ever. But not every part of Alicia's life was as perfect as it appeared beneath the joy. There were whispers from her past, whispers she never wanted to follow her into this new chapter. Years earlier, before she met Marcus, she had been in a long relationship with a man named Derek Lawson. He was older by nearly a decade, a construction supervisor, rugged, charismatic, but also controlling. Their relationship lasted 4 years, ending painfully after repeated arguments, jealousy, and one incident that left her friends urging her to walk away. She ended it and never looked back. Or so she thought, while Alicia moved on, building a new life. Derek never truly let go. He kept distant but not absent, sending the occasional message through old friends, asking how she was. Sometimes liking photos from anonymous accounts online, always present in shadows, but never close enough to alarm her. By the time her wedding approached, Alicia convinced herself the past was behind her. She told her maid of honor that this was her fresh start, the life she always prayed for. Still, in the days before the ceremony, she noticed something unsettling: an anonymous bouquet of red roses delivered to her apartment with a card that read, "Forever mine, no signature, no hint of who sent it." Her bridesmaids dismissed it as a secret admirer, a silly prank. Alicia laughed it off, though uneasily another detail surfaced. Her car parked outside the bridal salon appeared to have been tampered with, minor scratches across the door, a mirror tilted as if someone brushed against it. She mentioned it casually to Marcus, but he shrugged it away, saying maybe kids in the lot were playing around. Alicia tried to forget, focusing instead on the joy of her approaching vows. What she didn't know was that Derek Lawson was very much in Savannah. On that weekend, he had returned quietly from Atlanta, where he had been working, staying in a small motel on the edge of town, and watching from a distance, determined to be present at the one event that symbolized the final chapter of their connection. He could not bear the thought of her marrying another man, especially Marcus, a man he believed had taken everything from him. Derek obtained an invitation through a distant acquaintance. It was easy to slip in with so many guests arriving. Most people assumed he was just another family friend. No one questioned his presence as he took a seat in the front row on the morning of June 12th. Alicia woke early, surrounded by her bridesmaids, her mother and her sisters. The atmosphere was filled with laughter, makeup brushes clicking, champagne glasses toasting. She wore her robe embroidered with the word bride across the back. She told them, "Today is my day. Nothing can ruin this for me." The hours passed. The church bells rang and guests began arriving. Everyone admired the decorations: white lilies, golden ribbons, pews lined with roses. The air inside the church was heavy with excitement and anticipation as Marcus stood at the altar, shaking hands with his best man. Adjusting his cufflinks, Alicia prepared to step into the sanctuary, her father waiting to walk her down the aisle, in those moments filled with happiness, love, and expectation. No one noticed the man sitting quietly in the front pew, his eyes fixed on the door, his jaw clenched, his mind racing. This was the background to a story that would soon turn from celebration to devastation. The wedding was supposed to be the happiest day of her life, but behind the laughter and music, shadows were already forming. In silence, the bride had lived a life that many envied. She was beautiful, ambitious, and deeply loved by her family. But love also breeds jealousy, and jealousy breeds hate. She had unknowingly made enemies. Enemies who smiled at her in daylight, but plotted against her in the dark as the guests raised glasses and celebrated the union tension. Brewed quietly under the surface, a bitter ex who felt betrayed by her sudden choice to marry a hidden affair that threatened to spill out in front of everyone. A family member holding grudges that stretched back years, unspoken secrets whispered in corridors, a storm gathering strength in silence while she danced in her gown with joy. Her killer sat in the front row waiting, planning, breathing in the air of happiness, but filled with rage. Each toast, each smile, each vow only fueled the fire of revenge. The rising conflict was invisible to most, but to the one who had already chosen death over forgiveness. This was not a wedding. It was the perfect stage for murder, and every second brought them closer to the moment where love would end in blood. The music slowed. The bride stood radiant at the altar, her veil catching the soft glow of light, her groom's hand trembling as he reached for hers. The room filled with tears and applause, cameras flashing, hearts beating with joy. Yet somewhere in the crowd, another heartbeat, for a darker reason. The front row seemed ordinary, family faces, friends, smiles. But behind one pair of eyes, there was no love, only vengeance. Every vow spoken cut like a blade. Every kiss shared felt like an insult. Every clap of celebration burned like fire inside the killer's chest. They had waited for this moment, carefully, timed, perfectly planned, while the priest's voice echoed about love and unity. The killer's hand moved slowly, fingers brushing against cold metal hidden in fabric, hidden from sight. The bride turned her head, her eyes catching a glimpse of the front row, her smile wide, her future bright. She did not see death looking back at her. The trigger was pulled in silence before the sound shattered the air, before anyone could scream. The shot rang out, a piercing crack tearing through music, laughter, and prayer. The bride gasped, her white dress stained in seconds, crimson spreading like a cruel signature across purity. She fell, her crown of flowers breaking against the ground. Screams filled the church, guests frozen in horror. The groom's cry tore through the chaos as he knelt beside her lifeless body, tears staining her gown. The killer did not run. They did not hide. They sat back in the front row, calm, watching the destruction they had unleashed, watching families fall apart, watching happiness drown in blood. The church, once filled with love, now echoed only grief, confusion, and terror. The climax of joy transformed in a single second into the climax of tragedy. A wedding turned funeral. A vow of forever cut short by a bullet from someone no one suspected, sitting right there in the front row. The church was no longer a place of celebration. It had become a crime scene. The white flowers lay scattered on the floor, trampled by panicked guests, the bride's blood still fresh on the tiles as police swarmed the building. The groom sat in shock, his hands shaking, covered in red, unable to understand how his love had slipped away. In an instant, whispers turned into sobs, questions turned into accusations. Who could do this? Why here? Why now? Investigators worked tirelessly, piecing together the chaos. They interviewed every witness, checked every angle, searched for the weapon, but the hardest truth was the simplest. The killer had not vanished into the night. They had not broken in from the outside. They had been sitting right there in the front row, masked by the faces of family and friends. Trusted, unnoticed, invisible behind a smile, as detectives dug deeper. Secrets surfaced, hidden affairs, financial debts, jealousy, long-buried rivalries. The bride had been loved, but she had also been envied, her life too perfect for some to accept, and now those hidden grudges had exploded in the cruelest way possible. The media descended, painting the story in headlines across the nation. The bride who died on her wedding day, the killer among the guests. The story shocked millions, sparking outrage, fear, and sorrow. Strangers lit candles in her memory. Online voices demanded justice. The groom begged for answers, still wearing his ring, as if clinging to a promise. Broken too soon, police traced evidence: fingerprints on a weapon, traces of gunpowder on trembling hands, a motive tied to obsession, betrayal, and rage. The arrest was made. The image of the killer in handcuffs leaving the church burned itself into history. Guests who once laughed together now testified against one of their own families, torn apart, trust shattered forever. The courtroom later filled with silence as prosecutors described the act not as a random attack, but a calculated betrayal. The very person who should have celebrated her happiness had turned into her executioner. And as the evidence unfolded, the world sat stunned. How could anyone sit in the front row of love and choose murder? How could joy turn so swiftly into tragedy? The aftermath was not just grief, it was a haunting question that lingered over everyone who had been there. A reminder that evil does not always wear the face of a stranger. Sometimes it sits closest to us, smiling, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Love is supposed to be safe. Marriage is supposed to be sacred. A wedding day should be filled with joy, laughter, and blessings, not tragedy and tears. But this story reminds us that life can change in a single moment. The people we trust the most can sometimes hide the darkest intentions. She walked into that church ready to begin her forever. But instead, her life ended before it even began. Her laughter silenced her dreams, stolen her vows left unspoken, and what makes it most haunting is that her killer was not a stranger, not someone who forced their way in, but someone trusted, someone who sat calmly in the front row, smiling as if nothing was wrong. Her death forces us to look deeper at the dangers of envy, jealousy, and betrayal, because not everyone who claps for you is truly happy for you, not every hug is given in love, and not every smile comes from the heart. Some people hide their hatred behind affection, waiting for the right moment to strike. Her story teaches us that we must be cautious about who we let close to our lives. We must learn to see beyond appearances and protect our peace from hidden envy. We must understand that sometimes evil is not far away. It is sitting right next to us. Her death is not just a crime. It is a lesson, a call to awareness, a reminder that happiness can spark jealousy, that joy can attract hatred, and that trust without wisdom can be dangerous. Awareness can save lives. Silence can destroy them. If we learn anything from her story, it should be to treasure our loved ones, to listen to our instincts, and to never ignore the warning signs of jealousy or bitterness. Her memory is painful, but it should never be forgotten. It should guide us toward living wisely and protecting ourselves from those who hide darkness behind their smiles. Her wedding day turned into a funeral, but her story can live on as a warning and as a lesson to us all. If this story touched you, if it made you feel the weight of what she went through, please take a moment to like this video so her memory and her pain are not forgotten. Share your thoughts in the comments. Let others know what you've learned and subscribe for more powerful crime stories. Together, we can build a community that does not just watch tragedy, but learns from it. Together, we can spread awareness and protect one another together. We can hit 1,000 and keep growing. So these voices, these lessons, and these memories continue to be heard. Her story should not be in vain. It should live on as a call for change, awareness, and wisdom. May we never forget her, and may we learn to see the dangers even in the places that seem the safest.